Change in your pocket could be worth a lot more than face value. Rare coins with mint errors, low mintages, and key dates are selling for hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Check your coins. You could be holding hidden treasure. The 1988 United States 1-cent penny might seem like just another copper-colored coin that most people pass over without much thought, but to coin collectors and numismatists, it carries a fascinating story, historical significance, and, in certain cases, surprising value. Pennies are the most common coin in circulation, and millions of Americans see them every single day, whether in pockets, change jars, or tucked into drawers. Yet coins like the 1988 Lincoln cent prove that what seems ordinary can sometimes be extraordinary, especially when you know where to look and what to look for. The 1988 penny is part of the long-running Lincoln cent series, first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln penny was historic from the very beginning. It was the first circulating U.S. coin to feature a real person, breaking away from the previous practice of symbolic figures like Liberty. By 1988, almost 80 years after its debut, the Lincoln cent had become a cornerstone of American coinage, beloved for its simple yet powerful portrait of one of the nation's greatest leaders. The obverse of the 1988 penny features Lincoln's right-facing profile. Above his head arches the word Liberty, and to his right appears the motto "In God We Trust." On the left-hand side, near his chest, is the word Liberty, and beneath the bust sits the date 1988. Just below the date, depending on where the coin was struck, you'll see the mint mark P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or S for San Francisco. This design, with Lincoln's thoughtful expression and iconic profile, had already been familiar to generations of Americans by the late 1980s. The reverse side in 1988 continued with the design introduced in 1959 to commemorate Lincoln's 150th birthday. This design, created by Frank Gasparo, replaced the original wheat ears with a depiction of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. The design not only honored Lincoln but also symbolized his lasting impact on the nation's unity and ideals. Above the memorial are the words United States of America, and below it, 1 cent. Between the two appears the motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one. One of the most charming aspects of this reverse design is that, if you look closely, you can actually see a tiny representation of Lincoln's statue seated inside the memorial, making the Lincoln cent one of the few U.S. coins to depict the same person on both sides. Now let's look at the mintages, which set the stage for rarity. The Philadelphia Mint struck more than 6.9 billion 1988 pennies, while Denver produced over 5.2 billion. San Francisco struck about 3.3 million proof coins for collectors. Clearly, with such staggering numbers, most 1988 pennies are extremely common, and in circulated condition, they remain worth just 1 cent. However, as with many coins, the true interest lies in high-grade examples and rare error varieties. Condition rarity plays a big role in determining value. While billions of 1988 pennies were minted, most entered circulation and quickly accumulated scratches, nicks, and wear. Finding one in pristine mint state condition is much harder than it sounds. Coins graded MS-67 or MS-68 by professional grading services are incredibly rare, and when they appear at auction, they can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars. For instance, a 1988 D-penny graded MS-68 red has sold for over $1,800, proving that even modern pennies can command impressive prices when they survive in exceptional condition. But where things get truly fascinating is with error varieties, because 1988 is one of those years that produced a very famous variety, the 1988 penny with the reverse of 1989. This variety, sometimes called the transitional reverse, is a numismatic treasure. Here's what happened. In 1989, the mint slightly modified the reverse design of the Lincoln Memorial cent, most notably in the designer's initials. On the standard reverse, the initials FG for Frank Gasparo are delicate and set farther from the building, while on the revised reverse, they are bolder and closer to the memorial. For reasons still debated, some 1988 cents were struck using the 1989 reverse dies, creating a transitional variety. Collectors quickly recognized the difference, and today, the 1988 with the reverse of 1989 is one of the most desirable modern Lincoln cent varieties. Values can range from $50 to several $100s, even in circulated condition, and in high mint state grades, they can soar to thousands. This makes it one of the key coins of the late 20th century for penny collectors. Beyond this famous variety, other error types from 1988 pennies also add intrigue and value. Off-center strikes are fairly common, and depending on the degree of misalignment, they can sell for $50 to $200. The more dramatic the off-center strike, especially if the date remains visible, the more valuable the coin becomes. Broad strikes are another error that occurred in 1988. Without the collar die to contain the planchet, the coin spreads outward during striking, giving it a stretched appearance. These errors can fetch $30 to $100, depending on condition. Clipped planchets are another collectible error, where part of the coin's edge is missing due to a miscut during production. Single clips might sell for $20 to $50, while multiple clips or dramatic crescent shapes can bring $100 or more. Die clashes, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet between them, leave ghost-like impressions on the coin. A strong clash on a 1988 penny can sell for $40 to $80. Perhaps the most exciting errors are wrong planchet strikes. In rare cases, a 1988 penny might have been struck on a dime or foreign coin planchet. These spectacular mistakes can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on rarity and demand. Auction records prove just how valuable the 1988 penny can be when everything lines up. A 1988 D cent in MS-68 red sold for $1,800. A 1988 Philadelphia cent in the same grade crossed the $1,500 mark. The transitional reverse variety has sold for over $3,000 in top mint state grades. And dramatic errors, such as off-center strikes and wrong planchet coins, have commanded similar figures. These stories highlight the excitement of coin collecting. A penny that most people overlook, toss aside, or ignore can sometimes carry a hidden story and unexpected value. The 1988 Lincoln cent is a perfect example. It looks ordinary, but when you know the details, like the transitional reverse variety or the potential for errors, you realize it's far from just pocket change. The lesson here is simple but powerful. Pay attention to the coins you encounter. The tiniest details, the placement of initials, the alignment of a strike, the condition of the surface, can transform a 1-cent coin into a prize worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. For collectors, the thrill comes from the hunt, the careful inspection, and the moment of discovery when something rare reveals itself. So the next time you spot a 1988 penny in your change, don't dismiss it. Hold it up to the light. Check the reverse for the 1989 design. Look closely at the condition. Who knows? That penny could be more than just a cent. It could be history, rarity, and value all rolled into one small copper coin. That's the magic of numismatics. Ordinary coins with extraordinary stories, waiting to be found. The 1988 Lincoln cent, with its massive mintages, rare transitional reverse, and fascinating errors, reminds us why collectors stay passionate year after year. It's not just about money. It's about discovery, history, and the joy of uncovering treasures hidden in plain sight. The year 2000 seems like yesterday to many of us, but in coin collecting terms, it already feels like a turning point in history. The United States 1-cent penny struck that year, though still modern in the eyes of collectors, has grown into a coin full of surprises. Billions were made, and to most people it was just another ordinary Lincoln cent tossed into pockets, slipped into vending machines, or saved in change jars. But just like so many coins we've already looked at, the truth is that the 2000 penny carries more than just its face value of 1 cent. For collectors who know what to look for, this coin offers history, symbolism, rare errors, and even hidden treasures worth far more than a penny. The Lincoln cent series is already the longest-running design in American coinage history. It began in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and it remains in circulation to this day. By the year 2000, the design had already gone through several phases. The famous wheat ears on the reverse had been replaced in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial design, created by Frank Gasparo, in honor of the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. That reverse design lasted for half a century until 2008, making the 2000 penny part of this long memorial cent era. On the obverse, Victor David Brenner's portrait of Lincoln, first used in 1909, remained virtually unchanged. It shows the president in profile facing right. The word liberty is placed to his left, while the date, 2000, sits to the right. Underneath the date, depending on where it was minted, you'll find either no mint mark at all, meaning Philadelphia, or a D for Denver. Both Philadelphia and Denver struck massive numbers of pennies in 2000, so these are by no means scarce. Above Lincoln's head are the familiar words "In God We Trust." The reverse in 2000 still carried the Lincoln Memorial. Frank Gasparo's design is bold but detailed, with the iconic memorial in Washington, D.C. shown in miniature. Careful collectors know that if you look closely with a magnifying glass, you can actually see a tiny statue of Lincoln inside the memorial, making this one of the most intricate reverses in all U.S. coinage. Above the memorial arch are the words United States of America, and just below that the motto E pluribus unum. Beneath the memorial are the words 1 cent. The denomination .by the year 2000, Lincoln cents had long since moved away from their original bronze composition. From 1909 until 1982, most pennies were struck from 95% copper, which gave them a heavier feel and a rich reddish tone. But starting in the mid-1980s, rising copper prices forced a change. The modern Lincoln cent, including the year 2000 issue, was struck from a core of 97.5% zinc, coated with a thin plating of 2.5% copper. This gave the coins their traditional appearance, but the metal inside was mostly zinc, much cheaper than copper. That's why if you hold a pre-1982 penny and a post-1982 penny side by side, you'll notice the difference in weight immediately. Because of the enormous mintage, the 2000 penny is common in pocket change. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 5.5 billion of them, while Denver added another 7.8 billion. That means more than 13 billion 2000 dated pennies were struck. With numbers like that, it's easy to see why most people assume the coin is only worth 1 cent. And for the majority of examples, that's true. Worn coins carry no premium and can be spent like any other cent, but rarity in coin collecting is rarely about total numbers. It's about survival in pristine condition and the mistakes that slip through the cracks. For the 2000 penny, that means high-grade mint state examples, rare varieties, and striking errors that make certain coins worth much more than face value. Let's start with condition. Most of these coins were released directly into circulation, where they quickly picked up scratches, nicks, and discoloration. Finding a 2000 penny in well-worn condition is easy, but finding one with sharp detail, full luster, and no marks is much harder. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC assign mint state grades from MS60 up to MS70. A coin at MS65 or higher is considered gem quality, and a coin at MS68 or above is extremely rare. For the 2000 penny, the very finest examples graded MS68 red, meaning they retain their full original red color, have sold at auction for hundreds of dollars. A coin that looks ordinary to most people could be worth $200 to $400 if it is perfectly preserved and professionally certified. Proof-like examples also exist, but in the year 2000, regular proof cents were struck separately by the San Francisco Mint and packaged in proof sets. These coins are specially struck with polished dies and planchets, resulting in mirror-like fields and frosted devices. A 2000 proof Lincoln cent, especially with deep cameo contrast, can be a beautiful coin. While most proofs are worth only a few dollars, top-graded deep cameo examples in PR70 have sold for $100 or more. But it's really the errors and varieties that make the 2000 penny so fascinating to collectors. One of the most famous varieties for this year is the 2000 wide AM reverse. On most 2000 cents, the letters A and M in America on the reverse are close together, almost touching. But on some coins, there is a noticeable gap, a wide AM variety. This happened because a proof reverse die was mistakenly used for some circulation strikes. The wide AM cents are far scarcer than the normal close AM coins and are highly sought after. Depending on condition, a 2000 wide AM cent can sell for anywhere between $20 and $500. In high grades, they can even fetch over $1,000. Another variety is the opposite situation. The close AM design, which is normal for circulation strikes but extremely rare on some proof issues. Collectors carefully examine 2000 proof cents for this unusual error. While less well known than the wide AM, it's still an exciting discovery. Other errors from 2000 include off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing because the blank was not properly aligned in the press. A minor off-center might be worth $25, while a dramatic 50% off-center coin with the date visible could be worth $200 or more. Double strikes, where the coin was struck twice, create overlapping images of Lincoln's face or the memorial. These dramatic errors can sell for several $100s. Clipped planchets, where part of the coin blank is missing, also occur and can bring $50 to $150 depending on size and appearance. Even subtle varieties can add value. Coins struck with weak or worn dies may show missing details on Lincoln's hair or the columns of the memorial. Some collectors specialize in such die states, though values vary widely. Doubled dies, where parts of the design appear doubled due to a die misalignment, are the most famous varieties across the Lincoln cent series. While no major 2000 double die has achieved the fame of earlier examples like the 1955 or 1969s, minor double dies are known and can bring premiums of $20 to $100. Auction results reveal the demand for the best 2000 pennies. In one case, a 2000D Lincoln cent graded MS68 red sold for nearly $1,000, proving just how much collectors will pay for perfection. Wide AM varieties in gem grades regularly sell in the $200 to $400 range, with exceptional examples bringing more. Proofs in PR70 Deep Cameo have sold for $150 to $200, while dramatic errors like double strikes or large off-centers have fetched similar amounts. Beyond the numbers, the 2000 penny carries symbolic meaning. It represents the turn of the millennium, a new century, and the continuation of a coin design that had already been in use for decades. It's a link between past and future, bridging the end of the 20th century and the start of the 21st. For younger collectors who grew up with the 2000 penny in their pockets, it's also a nostalgic coin, a reminder of childhood allowances, candy bought at the store, and the rattle of spare change in a piggy bank. For seasoned collectors, the 2000 penny is a reminder that even the most common modern coin can contain hidden treasures. Billions exist, but among them are rare wide AM varieties, high-grade gems, and dramatic errors worth far more than their face value. It's a lesson in paying attention, in looking closely, and in remembering that rarity doesn't always mean old age. Sometimes, the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and one worth hundreds comes down to a small gap between two letters or the faint doubling of a date. So the next time you see a penny dated 2000, don't dismiss it as just another cent. Take a closer look. Check the AM in America. Look at the surfaces. Notice the details on Lincoln's portrait and the memorial. What seems like an ordinary penny might just turn out to be a valuable discovery. And whether it's worth a cent or $100, it carries with it the story of a design that honored a president, the story of a nation's coinage evolving through the decades, and the story of how something so small can hold so much history. The 2000 Lincoln penny is proof that even in a world of billions, individual coins can stand out. It's a reminder to look closely, to keep searching, and to never underestimate the humble penny. The 2014 United States 1 cent penny might seem like one of the most ordinary coins in your pocket change. But if you look beyond the surface, this coin tells a fascinating story of modern minting, design, and even surprising collector value. While billions of these coins were struck for everyday use, not all 2014 pennies are created equal. Some have emerged with striking errors, others have been preserved in pristine condition, and all of them carry forward the long legacy of America's smallest denomination. What might look like just a copper-colored disc could, under the right circumstances, be worth far more than a single cent. To really appreciate the 2014 penny, it helps to understand where it fits into the history of U.S. coinage. The penny has featured the portrait of Abraham Lincoln since 1909, when it was first introduced to mark the centennial of his birth. Over the years, the design has evolved. For decades, the Lincoln cent carried the famous wheat ears on the reverse, followed in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial Reverse, celebrating the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. In 2009, special bicentennial reverse designs were issued, each highlighting a chapter of Lincoln's life, and beginning in 2010, the penny adopted its current shield reverse, symbolizing Lincoln's preservation of the Union. By 2014, the penny had fully transitioned to this shield design, and it remains in use today. The obverse of the 2014 penny features Victor David Brenner's classic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, which has endured for over a century, though with minor modifications over time. The inscriptions include Liberty to the left of Lincoln, the date 2014 to the right, and the mint mark below the date, depending on where it was struck. The reverse, designed by Lyndall Bass and engraved by Joseph Mena, shows a Union shield with a single horizontal scroll across it, inscribed with the word 1 cent. At the top, the familiar motto E pluribus unum ties the coin back to the broader history of American coinage. BY 2014. The penny was already long removed from its once traditional copper composition. Since 1982, pennies have been struck from a core of 97.5% zinc coated with 2.5% copper plating, giving them their classic coppery look while dramatically reducing production costs. A 2014 penny weighs 2.5 grams and has a plain edge. Despite this modern composition, errors and special conditions still make some of these pennies stand out. The Philadelphia and Denver mints both struck massive numbers of 2014 pennies, easily into the billions. Proof versions, made for collectors, came from the San Francisco Mint and carry the S mint mark. While most business strike 2014 pennies remain only worth face value, collectors prize examples in flawless condition. Graded mint state, MS, 67 or higher by services like PCGS or NGC. A 2014 cent becomes scarce. Registry set collectors compete fiercely for the best examples, and that competition has pushed prices into the hundreds of dollars for the very top graded coins. In one auction, a 2014 D penny graded MS68 red brought several $100s, showing how condition alone can transform a common coin into a valuable collectible. Proof coins also attract strong interest. A 2014 S-proof Lincoln cent in perfect PR70 deep cameo condition can bring $100 or more. While thousands of proof pennies exist, very few earn the top grade because even tiny flaws, faint spotting, or weak cameo contrast can hold a coin back. For collectors who want only the very finest, that difference matters, and the prices reflect it. Where the 2014 penny really sparks excitement, however, is in its errors. Even with advanced minting technology, mistakes slip through, and when they do, they can be dramatic. Off-center strikes are among the most common and collectible. A 2014 penny struck 50% off-center, while still showing the date, can sell for $150 to $250 or more depending on eye appeal. Double strikes, where the coin was struck twice with a visible shift, are even more impressive and can fetch similar or higher values. Clipped planchets are another error worth watching for. A curved piece missing from the coin's edge makes for a striking mistake, and collectors are willing to pay anywhere from $50 to $200 for well-preserved examples. Missing letters or partial design errors caused by grease-filled dies are less dramatic but still collectible, with values ranging from $10 to $50 depending on severity point. One of the most dramatic and valuable errors for the 2014 penny is when the coin is struck on the wrong planchet. A few 2014 cents have been discovered struck on dime planchets or foreign blanks, resulting in coins that are lighter or smaller than normal. These wrong planchet errors often sell for several $1,000s, especially when authenticated and graded by a reputable service. Even more eye-catching are examples missing their copper plating on one side, revealing the zinc core beneath. Such errors, known as missing clad or missing plating, create a stark contrast and can bring several $100s. Auction records highlight how surprising the value of a 2014 penny can be. High-grade mint state coins in MS68 have sold for over $400. Proof coins in PR70 deep cameo have realized $150, and dramatic off-center or double-strike errors regularly bring $200 or more. A 2014 cent struck on a dime planchet or missing its copper plating has fetched prices over $1,000, a stunning jump from its humble 1 cent face value. The lesson of the 2014 penny is clear. Modern doesn't always mean worthless. Yes, billions were struck, and yes, most remain worth just 1 cent. But hidden among those billions are condition rarities and striking mistakes that collectors will pay handsomely to own. A coin pulled from circulation in perfect condition, or one with a dramatic error, could be the difference between pocket change and a serious auction price. Imagine pulling a 2014 penny out of your change today. It looks ordinary, maybe even dull, but then you notice it's struck off-center, or maybe the copper coating is missing from one side, exposing the shiny zinc core beneath. Suddenly, you're no longer holding just 1 cent. You're holding a potential treasure worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. That's the magic of coin collecting. The thrill of discovery and the knowledge that rarity and condition can transform even the smallest coin into something extraordinary. The 2014 1-cent penny carries the weight of Lincoln's legacy, the evolution of U.S. coinage, and the chance for collectors to find something special where most people see nothing. Whether it's a perfect proof, a top-graded mint state coin, or a spectacular error, the 2014 penny proves that hidden value often lies in the details. So the next time you see a 2014 cent, take a closer look. It might just surprise you.